Nottingham Forest are linked with a huge goalkeeper signing. We'll give you all the details. Welcome to Forest Fan TV. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Hope you're having a fantastic afternoon, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's video, we will give you details on this boy right here. We'll be talking about the latest with Chris Wood. We'll also be talking about a slip of the tongue from Tim Vickery, and should we take any note of what was said? There's so much to get into, but before we do, if you'd be kind enough to hit that like button, as 45% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel, make sure you're signed into your Google account, hit that subscribe button, and of course, like the video. And a quick reminder, tonight at 6 p.m, we got the huge exclusive with Craig Bromfield, as he will tell us all about the life of Brian Clough and his story with Brian Clough. Just a little hint, we'll be talking about the N-word. Yes, and talking about Roy Keane's private parts. You're not going to want to miss it. That will be exclusive for the members. If you want to be a member, it's only 99p. Hit the join button down below and get yourself signed up and get your questions in for Craig. But let's get into the news, and let's start with the latest keeper linked to Nottingham Forest. Livakovic, the Croatian sensation goalkeeper who had an outstanding World Cup at Qatar, has been linked with Nottingham Forest. Forest, who did think about signing him in the summer and thought better of it when it came to replacing Samba and went with Hendo, are now worried and need a goalkeeper replacement with the injury to Dino Hendo. So up step this little sensation from Dinamo Zagreb. Now, the asking price from Dinamo Zagreb, they have said they will not take a penny under 10 million euros. But I'd be surprised if it went that high, and I think it will be somewhere in the region of about £6 to £8 million, somewhere around there. And I think it's going to be worth every penny. What does this tell you as well? That our goddamn medical staff are doing their thing yet again with Hendo, and God knows what's happening to him as that period of injury gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as I jokingly said the other day, is it going to get to the stage where we need to cut our losses, send him back to Manchester United, and then potentially pick him up in the summer in the next transfer window? Because we are paying over 100k a week for Hendo's services. And as much as I love Hendo, as harsh as this is going to sound, if we get this goalkeeper, maybe, I love Hendo, but do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of money. 8 weeks is 800k, nearly £1 million that could go elsewhere within the club. Let me know what you think. I'm not committing to it. I'm just putting it out as an idea. But anyway, back to this goalkeeper. Look, there was a lot of clubs interested in him come after the World Cup. And Forest are now the front runners to capture his signature. And I think they're going to need to act fast, because he is a talented goalkeeper and showed his pedigree in the World Cup. But before that, he was showing his pedigree. He's been a goalkeeper I've always rated, and I would have liked Forest to have captured him in the summer. But nothing against Hendo. I really do like Hendo. My God, I feel like I'm having to sit here defending myself. But let me know down below, is this the ideal signing for Forest? Because it will give us that problem. Let's assume we do sign him, and let's assume we keep Dean Henderson there. These are two number one goalkeepers, neither of which will want to be a number two. We told you about Navas the other day, and that one seems to have gone a bit quieter at the moment. And I didn't mind the idea of it, especially with Hendo out. But this one for me is the one that I would take, because he's fantastic, in my opinion. You guys let me know down below. Who would you take, and how would you order them in terms of who's first and who's second, assuming they are all fit? Let's move on. Speaking of goalkeepers and staying with the goalkeeper theme, Bruno Varela, the Benfica player out on loan at Ajax, has been very loosely linked with Nottingham Forest. The player who was actually linked to Forest a few years ago under Karanka has been linked again. So it is clear to see that this window, one of the priorities is going to be a goalkeeper for us. Look, is he any good? Honestly, don't know too much about him because he's not getting any game time at Ajax. But he's someone that Karanka liked and respected a few years ago. He's kept a lot of clean sheets. Maybe he happens. We'll keep you posted. but goalkeepers are definitely on the menu for Nottingham Forest this January. Tim Vickery, the South American correspondent extraordinaire, knows everything about everyone and anything to do with South American football, was on Sky Sports earlier on talking about Gomez, a player that's been strongly linked to Wolves and to Lyon. And then he mentioned that the player himself, Gomez, wants to go to Nottingham Forest. Now, for me, this was a slip of the tongue. I don't know what you guys think, but it was quite funny to see. He'd just gone on a spiel for a minute or two talking about how Wolves were going to get him, Lyon coming in, offering more money. And then he said, but the player wants the Premier League and Nottingham Forest. Now, for me, it would make sense for him to want Nottingham Forest over Wolves. I mean, who calls themselves after a goddamn animal? Anyway. But it's, joking aside, it's clearly a slip of the tongue, but something that I found quite amusing and set Twitter alight a bit. So, no truth in that one, just a slip of the tongue. Let's talk about a bit of Wood. Chris Wood is getting ever closer to signing on loan for Nottingham Forest. We will, of course, break it to you here and on Twitter on official FFTV. And more importantly, FFTV High Press, which is minute-by-minute transfer updates for you. So make sure you're following both those accounts. But we have it on good authority that the floodlights were on last night at the City Ground, and we all know what that means. So expect the announcement to come soon. And I am still putting my ass on that wooden fence, no pun intended, because I just don't know how I feel about him. We'll talk about him in more depth once it's all official and done. But guys, how do you feel about a bit of Wood at the City Grounds? On Dan Juma, this is still not dead in the water, as the rumors that we broke to you yesterday about him having a chat with Steve Cooper were true, but nothing has been cemented yet. He's still fishing around to see where he can end up. It looks like he is definitely leaving and coming, and he wants to go to the Premier League, but there are clubs from Holland interested and some from France as well. I think Boringmouth are well and truly out of the equation now. There's been a sniff or two from Newcastle on Dan Juma, but I don't fear Newcastle because we're a bigger club. I mean, they won anything ever? I'm sure Spacebar will let us know. But Dan Juma, I just still feel it in my waters. I don't know why. I just think it makes sense for all parties, for him, for us, for the fan base. Now, there's a lot of talk. Is he a striker or is he a winger? Look, he can play both, but in my personal opinion, he is more lethal on that left-hand side of the pitch coming in. Yes, he can deputise up front, but if we're getting goddamn Wood, he'll be playing on the wing if he comes. So let me know your thoughts on Dan Juma and all the stuff below. Look out. There's a lot coming out over today and the next few days on FFTV. Tonight, quick reminder, Craig Bromfield. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear this about the N-word, about Roy Keane's private part, about life with Cluffy. It's going to be amazing, so make sure you're tuned in. And if you're not a member, hit that join button down below and get your questions in. There's a community tab for the members to get your questions asked in there. And during the live watch along, of course, you'll be able to ask them as we go. On top of that, get your predictions in for the Predictor League, as we'll be running that stream live for you guys tomorrow. If you haven't joined already, the link is down below. And then finally, before you leave, if you'd be kind enough to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we will see you later on, probably to announce Chris Wood. Come on, you Reds.